Hi guys, it is Corie from AltCoin Buzz Ladies, and I'm here for my second video on, that was actually like perfect, but I'm here for my second video on white paper reviews. I'm going to be discussing here today a section, and I will say just a section, of the Refereum white paper. If you missed my last video, you saw kind of a snippet of what you're going to see here. I like to give you guys just sections of specific reviews that I did. I'm not trying to give you a specific entire project review. Maybe we'll build to that. But what I'm helping and trying to do is to help you build skills for yourself in how you analyze white papers. I don't think in this current environment people are doing the right types of due diligence, and that's just my personal opinion. I don't see it. I'm having discussions with friends, I'm having discussions with colleagues who are invested in so many projects, and when you really drill down into what that project or that platform does, there's just holes in what they understand about it. And I think that just is kind of a trend in the current market, and something I've seen a lot of. If YouTube is your current platform for investment strategy and research, I would challenge you to expand from that. I would challenge you to take one of these videos, take an approach from one of my videos, and try and do your own white paper review and really to question what you have before you are investing in it. So in this specific video, I'm going to do an example from the Refereum white paper, like I said, and we're going to just look at a very different approach I took to this. I am an advocate of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And by what I mean by that is, if you're the type of person who actually reads the white papers, which first off, credit to you for opening the white paper, taking the time, but if you are the type of person who every white paper, you start on page 1 and you just read through it, you are setting yourself up for what I think could be a biased reading of the white paper. I think anybody who's ever sat down, who is not necessarily like a lawyer, who has maybe the attention span for reading a 60-page PDF of technical jargon, if you sit down with the approach of reading from page 1 onward, then I think you're setting yourself up for what could be a layout scheme from the project and the team itself. If I was trying to promote something and I wanted to be fully transparent on a project, but I wanted to definitely highlight and play to the strengths, and I know most investors are going to start page 1 and read to page 60, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the strengths at the beginning of the white paper. I'm going to talk about how amazing it is. I'm going to talk about the technology, and I'm going to talk about the holes in the industry and why it's needed. What I'm not going to do in those first few pages is discuss the potential issues, the potential barriers to getting into the market. I'm not going to talk about, or highlight maybe some of the flaws, but I'm also going to rely on the fact that by the time you get to page 50 or 60 and you're into that white paper, hopefully your attention span has been limited and hopefully your energy level is down. And even if you had thought to ask those questions at the beginning of the white paper, I'm relying on you being too tired to remember to ask for those questions and remembering to look in that type of detail into the white paper. And so I really think there's a benefit to mixing up your white paper review and just taking a different approach. And I like to do this maybe like one every few white papers in order to expand that skill. And I consider a white paper review as an investor to be one of the tools in my tool belt, and just constantly bettering that tool and bettering that skill, it only helps me in the future. And so the other thing that I'll point out, and I'll liken this to, is a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers you'll see out there almost appear to have an investment checklist. And when you watch a review for them, when you watch them walk through a potential project, you're always seeing them ask the same question. And yeah, anybody can open a white paper and ask the same 6 questions as the next person and say, yeah, how's the team? How's the roadmap? How's the general overview of this project? Do I think off the top of my head, does this meet some type of hole in the market? They all seem to be answering the same questions from this predetermined checklist. And I consider them to be questions, say, A through E, A, B, C, D, E. My issue with that, and if anybody knows the alphabet, is there's a lot of other letters out there. There's a lot of other questions out there you as an investor should be asking yourself. And if you only ever learn to follow a checklist approach when you're reviewing a type of investment, you're only ever going to get back those answers. Challenging yourself to open a white paper and to look at it from a different perspective, or just tackle the review in a different way, is going to create a different set of questions for yourself. And I did that with Refereum. And I'm going to walk you through how I started it, and how I kind of gained my own background on Refereum before I even opened before I got to page 1. I didn't start at page 1, so I can't say before I opened the white paper. I was in the white paper, I just wasn't on page 1. So if you'll stick with me, we're going to go to the white paper now, and I'll show you what I did with Refereum and how I gained just this different perspective on, tackling this specific white paper. So here we go. I'm sorry, I lied. Before we get started, I wanted to stop and say, I am not a financial advisor. I am expressing here my own opinions and my own personal beliefs, as well as the personal approach I took to the Refereum white paper. If you are watching this, please do not take anything I'm saying as financial or tax advice. Please be sure to do your own due diligence and critically review your own investments and your investment strategy on your own before putting your money into any of these projects. So now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, guys. So like I said, I took a really different approach with the Refereum white paper. And so we're sitting here at the back of the white paper in the citation section. I like to take this approach when I don't have that much technical background in the field. If you consider somebody with extensive background in PlayStation 1 playing Spyro games throughout college to have extensive gaming experience, then maybe you could see why I wouldn't need to take this approach. But as that is my current gaming industry background, and I will say I am an expert at Spyro, I decided to start on the citations page. I decided to ask myself, what could this white paper be trying to achieve? What could this project be trying to solve before I even took a look at what the project was? And so what I did is I actually went through, and this white paper actually facilitated it very well because everything is hyperlinked, but I went through and I read every single article here. There's about 20. They're not that long, but I went through and I actually opened every single one of these links, read what it had to say, and I tried to determine on my own what could be the potential issue in this market. And I think it worked really well in this instance. So when I went through this, one of the key topics I continued to see was a number of these sources referencing the amount of money that people are pouring into advertising within the gaming industry on social media platforms that is going and being spent without any type of benefit. I think one of the articles, and I think they actually quote this, said that 8% of the amount of money that people are pouring into advertising actually reaps the benefits of pulling in an income source from that advertising money. And so I really was able to gather that there was a hope I had from this, that this specific project was going to be centered around advertising and marketing to people over the blockchain in a way that cured the issue of spending $100 and reaping the benefit of only 8 of the dollars from which I spent. And so I really gathered an opinion on what I was hoping to see before I even opened up this white paper. Let's take a look at and I haven't looked at this in a minute, so let's take a look at some of the comments I left myself. So here, specifically, I asked myself, and I opened it, and I had read this, but again, we saw this in the Sealy white paper. Why are we referencing Wikipedia? Is there really no better source for a discussion on Ethereum and the ERC20 token standard from using a Wikipedia site? I'd hope that some of these individuals would move beyond Wikipedia, but we see it again here. So I didn't mark that. Here I left myself a note. So this was a very good source on just how the current market is failing to meet their targeted audience. And so I left myself a note to that. This was talking about specific holes in the marketing platform and the growth of the industry and the potential for the growth of the industry. So I think I'll point out one more, Nielsen. So here, these Nielsen sites, I couldn't access them. So while 90% of the sources on here were very good, give or take out your opinions on a Wikipedia source, I was a little thrown off by the fact that I could not access this Nielsen source, or the fact, and this was what I was trying to find out, why they're referencing a 2009 source. They reference Nielsen a couple times in this, and I tried to do a Google search to try and access this as well. Based on the Google search and the auto-populating format that Google does in their searches now, I noted that 2009 is not the most recent survey that they have. They've actually got surveys going through 2010 all the way to 2014, and so I was really interested to try and get my hands on this specific one to understand why they were so focused on 2009 as opposed to something more recent like 2014. Was there a specific article? Was there a specific type of questions within the survey? But I wasn't able to access that. So give or take your opinions on that, give or take your opinions on what that could mean. I did note it did appear to exist. It came up in the Google search, but I wasn't able to get my hands on exactly what I was looking for. So I found that interesting. I still don't have the answers to the question around 2009 versus 2014 or something even more recent, but it is an open question. I left myself a note to it in case I'm looking back before investing. And so through this approach, and before I even get to the first page, I already have given myself a knowledge about the industry, a knowledge about the potential issues within the industry, and given myself almost a hope and a wish list of what I want this project to try to achieve. And in doing so, I've almost set a standard for my own personal investing in a project that's going into this type of field, because I have a certain little wish list of things I want a project to achieve in order to fill the holes I'm seeing in the market. And in taking this specific approach, I was able to get my wish list, I was able to get my opinions on this project and what I want it to do before I even became biased with what the project is trying to do. I think it's really important for people to take a step back and say, can you really truly have an unbiased opinion of a project if before you even know what's wrong with the industry, before you even know what holes it's trying to fill, you've already told yourself what the project is trying to achieve, and you've listened to their rhetoric about what they want to do and why? I don't think that you can be unbiased at that point. I don't think that you can say for yourself, would I have come to the same conclusions? Would I have asked the same questions? Would I have had the same starting thought process if I had educated myself on the holes in this market and then come in and read the white paper? And so taking the approach of starting in the citation section of a white paper can give you this. It can give you that background. It can give you that thought process for analytical questions that you might not have achieved. Again, going all the way back to the beginning of the video, I've now given myself question F. So we had A, B, C, D, and E. I now have potentially F, G, and H. I've given myself 3 new questions I can ask. I've given myself an ability to create a wish list of what I want a project to achieve before I've even potentially opened the first page of this. And you can see we haven't even gotten to the beginning of this white paper, and I know I want this potential project to solve a hole where advertisers and marketers are spending a ton of money trying to get to their target audience, but failing just based on the current platforms that they have across various social media. And so if we actually go back up and would start the white paper, what you will note is that this project is aiming to do exactly that. It's aiming to use referrals. And they have a number of statistics quoted throughout here that I actually was able to read about and gather information about before I even turned to this. But that referrals are the most successful sources of advertising. And if you think about that and you actually step back and ask yourself, have referrals worked for me in the past? I think there's evidence that it has. And, one of my roommates, I remember even a few days ago having a discussion with him. He bought a new video game on his Xbox. And I just remember him saying, I was the only person out of the group of friends I have that didn't have this game. I wanted to play the game with them, so they told me how great it was. I went out and bought it. And now, on a daily basis, I'm seeing him specifically play this game. And so, as I read through this white paper and I heard about the power of a referral and the power that your friends and those closest to you have on swaying your judgment as to purchasing certain things, it hit home, and it hit home in a way that I can absolutely agree that this could be very successful. So with that, I think we're actually going to be done with the Refereum white paper. I don't want to go into too much detail. If you're interested in this project, you can go into more detail. I actually really like this project. I think it has a lot of potential. You can probably pick up on that from how I've been discussing it. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a really quick snippet, a really quick approach that could change how you look at white papers. Maybe if you're getting sick of reading these, it'll give you a different approach and maybe rejuvenate the process for you. But yeah, this is starting from the back. This is starting from the end, and this is using the resources and the citations to give yourself background and to let you become the knowledgeable, educated person in the specific sphere, in the specific project and platform before you get into the technical nitty-gritty of what they're trying to do with it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for sticking with me. Again, that was just a tiny snippet of the Refereum work paper, a way for us to take a look at a different approach to white paper reviews. You should constantly be trying to better your skills and better your review of white papers and how you critically analyze things. And this was hopefully something you guys can try, and maybe you find some benefit in it. I'd love to know if you guys find benefit in doing reviews this way, if you've tried it before. And as we're going to have other videos coming forward on different approaches I've taken, different sections of white papers I really analyzed, found something in, or just was able to think through and ask myself really good questions. We're just going to continue building out these videos, and I'd love to know the secrets you guys have. I'd love to know if anybody has like a secret approach they have where they really think it's really useful, or what you guys have done to find really good tidbits in white papers. It's a skill, and you should get credit for that, and I really want to hear what you guys are thinking. You can leave comments in the section below as well. You can give me any feedback. Instead of the bed this week, we have the nice little door. I know people really liked my bed in the background last time, so I clearly don't take myself too seriously in these videos. Hopefully you don't take me too seriously. If you do and you want something other than a door or a bed, you can leave it on some other videos comment section. But if you want to, you can subscribe to our channel, AltCoin Buzz Ladies, or you can go to our brother channel, AltCoin Buzz, and you could subscribe to them. You can also follow us on Twitter. We're pretty active. You've got AltCoin Buzz Ladies, you've got AltCoin Buzz. You can follow each of the ladies. You can follow me at Corie. I'd love to hear from you guys. I've heard from some of you. I want to continue the discussion, so hit me up. Thanks, guys.